Good morning. Get some charts. All right. So the theme covered over the weekend in the letters and a chart of the week was market moving too far too fast, and it was likely to correct a bit. And that's how we're starting out this morning. 5% move in a few days is extreme. We've seen it before, but obviously markets got to rest. Who the hell wants to buy, up near resistance after that much up? In addition, look at this chart over here. Let me get a little pointer here. Look at this little one right here. After 5% up, give or take, several days up, close to an area of resistance, option traders flood in, buying an overwhelming amount of calls. I mean, we've been doing this for decades. And, the thing about technical analysis and looking at charts, and yeah, patterns change because market environments change, but human nature never changes. And I always look at something like this, and most do. It's like, are you stupid? Using a leveraged instrument that the premiums are going to be inflated after a 5% move going into a weekend. But it happens time and time again, all the time, meaning you get these extreme moves either up or down. And, whether they're hedges or whatever, it doesn't matter. We use these internal market gauges as a guide. Now, that's short-term negative as to what's going on right now. You can see the gap down in the Qs here. And, NVIDIA wasn't even up last week in a market that was up 5%. So there's a big influence on the markets to some extent. It didn't have that, wind at its back, so to speak. However, look at this breadth internal. I mentioned this last week that historically, when it goes from one extreme to the other extreme with a straight up move, the market has always gone higher in that situation. Now, if I was to scroll back, the last time it did this was in April, and that was after a 20% correction. This isn't a 20% correction, but nonetheless, it's somewhat of a correction. But the theme of moving like that typically happens after bigger corrections. Anyway, this is a good thing. So if you look at things like regional banks had an explosive move to the upside. Many things did. Like you can look across the board, and things that did the worst, like retailing, were doing the worst, had explosive moves. So there was this huge expansion in breadth, and that's what this looks at. And this is the day-to-day breadth, which we monitor during the trading day to see, in a sense, what kind of day is it. So markets are trending up. Is this up near, plus 1,500, or is it trending up and it's at zero? It gives you some guidance as to the day-to-day breadth. So internal market gauges, excellent way of measuring what's happening there. So market's gapping down a little bit. I think normal. And then we're going to see how far it goes. So, just using this chart as an example, just looking at how it came up and where's their support, where buyers are likely to show up, I would say, what was resistance becomes support. That's about, I don't know, a 40% correction as I'm just eyeballing it, give or take, would be a place to be looking for prices to stabilize. Basic technical analysis 101. Now, the other thing is this ugly move in Bitcoin, which is, again, is normal. I think normal in a downtrend like this. It had this nice move, and we were looking for this to hold this area. And a move to the downside like this, it's not unusual for sellers to come in again near even a minute resistance area. And I think there was some news on it. You can check it out if you like. But with a move down like this and it's not bouncing, nothing's really bouncing this morning pre-market. I think coming down to this area and looking at the weekly chart, you want to see what it does down here. So coming down here, maybe it breaks this low, give or take, wherever it's going to be, or it comes here and makes a W bottom. It's going to make sense, excuse me, to put on a small position and see where this goes from there. So we'll be looking for that to occur during this week. Right, so right now we're just starting out with this move down, and support is down here, or things are just rattling around here a little bit for the moment. Just take a peek at the futures, and you can see there's the gap down under this shelf of support, and so let me just see, it's on this area right here. The white area is during the trading day, and this is overnight. So I like to look at it. Well, we got to look at the spiders to see where that is. But anyway, it's gapping down. The spiders are gapping down under Friday's low. And let's look at that. So there's gapping down. Let's see where it's at. Like 679, 79, 79. It's gapping down to the area of this little support area on the 65-minute chart, but below this. So, to start, we'll see where this ends the day as always, but to start, you got a gap up and a gap down. So that's like a 1-day bearish island reversal near an area of resistance after a 5% move up. That suggests some type of retracement, maybe down here. The same thing as we looked at on the retailing ETF. What was resistance becomes support, give or take, somewhere around here. And you got these moving averages on the spiders, and I suspect, based on the breadth internal, based on this expansion and breadth and sharp move up, buyers should want to show up somewhere in this area. Basic stuff. SPX. So even with the gap down, the call strike moved up, and it moved up into the pivot high resistance. That's a good thing. And it's gapping down here, which would lead us to believe it's not going up there today. So I think any strike above Friday's high should be safe, and that is 68.50. So on the other side of 68.50 should be safe. And unless some news comes out that's a freaking disaster for the markets, it's not going down here. This didn't move from Friday. So I think sometimes just looking at how much these strikes move from one day to the next gives some guidance as to how bullish or bearish participants are. So even with this gap down, this didn't move up. If it did move up, I would say, that's maybe a contrarian thing, that this thing might go down, prices might go down further than anticipated. But, again, yet to be seen what's going to happen, but it's not going down there today. It probably, I'm thinking, let's see where it opens. If it opens at 6,800 or below, but anywhere in the area of 67.50 should be pretty good support. And anywhere around there, and near that 20 MA, and that half number, I would think, this was the high coming down there. The convergence of these moving averages, a half number, that this would be pretty solid support. There's an unfilled gap just above there. So there's a lot of reasons to think buyers would show up somewhere in this area, which is, of course, it assumes that things will continue to move lower from the open. IWM, which was the really monster move. It didn't move much on Friday, but it led the way up amazingly. And looking at this breadth internal, we looked at regional banks, we looked at retailing, and looking at small caps. Money just flowed in there. And this is speculative stocks, small caps, risk on. That's a strong belief that the markets will go higher. Maybe the anticipation of the Christmas rally, uh, after this correction. In any event, same analysis, strong move up, took out resistance, pullbacks. Some were here. Let's see where it is. We're here. So it's gapping down toward Thursday's low or Wednesday's low. And so we'll see if it holds here or whether it rolls back over. Things aren't really moving here at all. Because everybody is maybe a little bit of a shock after, the majority, so many thought it would continue to go higher, which is what this put call ratio is telling us. There was a strong belief that maybe it would gap up after that run. That's not happening. So I think that puts a little additional pressure for prices to move lower. Fed, and we looked at 13-week yields last week, and we discussed that this was communicating a strong belief. Some mentioned the CME watch tool, which basically is telling us the same thing that this chart is, that there's a strong belief that the Fed is going to cut at that next meeting. And, there's so much, let's call it, right, what Trump says fake news out there, but there's a lot of fake news in social media. People just posting stuff to get clicks. And so I don't know if it's true or not, but I saw that Powell was going to be having a meeting this evening to announce that he's leaving. Check it out. See if there's confirmation of that. And so then Trump would put in his guy, and that would pretty much put a lock on the cut. So this says there's a strong belief that they're going to cut. All right. We looked at Qs, we looked at spiders, diamonds, or are they, gapping down to Friday's low. So we're going to get some kind of corrective price action. Things aren't moving here. Gapping down after several days up, common sense says it's going to correct further. All right. Take a look at the 10-year. Interest rates up. So that puts a little bit more gas on the fire as far as markets going lower. So we were talking about, it was last week or the week before. Anyway, we're looking at this area, and my comments were, if this breaks out above here, that's going to put more pressure on the markets, and it wind up going down, and the markets rallied. So now we see interest rates to 10 years moving up. Markets are gapping down. Bitcoin's down quite a bit. Leads us more, right? We're building a belief here and a plan for at least today that the markets should continue to have selling pressure. And so yields moving up, that's going to put some additional pressure. And we'll be keeping an eye on that throughout the trading day. Gold pushing up again. Backing off a little bit, but let's see here. Pushing up, it looks like it'll continue to move higher. This is the area where we were looking for it to move up. And based on this pattern, correction, up, retest, it's moving up. Probably going to make new all-time highs. Silver is also moving up. Made new all-time highs, as you can see. And it's not backing off. So there's another positive. Also, and crude oil, right, just kind of hanging out. Not much to do there. Energy stocks, if you look at like XLE, which we can look at, that pulled back into a support area. So this is starting to move up, but it's just such a messy pattern overall. So there's no interest there. And the last thing I'm going to look at here is the volatility index, which you can see is gapping up a little bit, which what it does when the market's gap down, but it's down near support. So as we came into the weekend, there were lots of reasons: volatility index, certain markets moving up a whole heck of a lot, option traders buying ridiculous, skew into calls versus puts after a 5% move. All made sense that markets would have some kind of corrective price action. So here we are. And we'll just see where this goes. All yours, Dan.
Good morning. Everyone had a great weekend. So we all in the green room had a bias of a pullback. We just didn't know when. Ideally, we were hoping for a gap up today, for a gap and crap. Final last of the Mohicans, but we're gapping down, so still have a bearish bias. And yeah, I like Greg's pick of call in. We can do a condor today, just legging into them. So we'll use our intraday charts to find where to do the call spread and put spread today. Alarms, like always, don't have many. But we do have a lot of open positions, and they're all doing fine. Number of break evens on a couple things. Stops. I guess had an up alarm on this. This is one of our opens. Nice, powerful stock. My up alarm at 47 went off. Tibla, I had a low alarm go off. That looks like that was bad. We have a break even stop on that. Kind of a similar pattern. Buy setup in a strong trend. Satish, we have a break even alarm. I had, I had a, yeah, so that was a bad alarm. I had something go off here, but I'll just keep an eye on these at the open. On ATEC, I had an up alarm. Look at that beautiful 1, 2, 3 we bought. Another powerful move, pull back. And we use the word the tell. In this range expansion bar was the tell. Look, they traded under all these lows and then closed with an engulfing breakout. That's your entry. You're monitoring. Let's say hypothetical, one of you asked me in the green room here, hey, Dan, what about a buy setup on 11/17? I'd say, yeah, it is a buy setup. Pullback reversal and support. But I guarantee you, I would have said, I need a potent reversal. I want a bottoming tail. I want a correction pattern. I would love for it to trade under these lows and snap right back. Well, here's exhibit A right there. Exactly what it did. And then we got another bonus. So 1, 2, 3, we got an inside bar. So we're in trail mode on that. XLP, I had an up alarm. This is, we have a lot of nice ETF open trades. Yeah, Greg's been nailing these healthcare sectors. XHE we're in. Look at this beautiful. We bought that pullback. We have a full lot. We didn't even sell a third because Greg is so bullish on it. And weekly, monthly, and it's a longer term holding letter, the ETF, and we're going for bigger gains. TBPH, I guess, had an alarm. This is a biotech stock that we are long calls. And look, I just had an up alarm on this go off. So let's put that right here. Let's see, this other one's Satish. I'll put here. I don't have any earnings stocks or anything really moving. The synopsis is up a lot. I just saw the headline that NVIDIA is going to invest $2 billion in them. Well, that's quite a move here, pre-market. It was on our new long watch list. Alex said he's in it already and he was selling pre-market. And I 100% agree with that decision. I mean, we fade moves. And then the public's like, wait a minute. I don't understand. Nvidia's investing 2 billion and I just bought it at 460. How am I down $15 already? I don't understand. Well, it's because you don't understand crowd psychology and how to read a chart is the answer to that question. That's in D Delta we're in, deck we're in. I moved stop break even on deck. Echo Hotel, it's Climo I'm watching. XYF is another Climo I'm watching, but look at that. There's not one single evidence of a turn yet. That's just power dumping right there. All right, let's just let's a couple things here. The Ping, they were in the news. They got hacked. This is this is a Chinese company. And so yeah, I'm glad they're getting hacked. No pattern gapping down here. Disney had a movie come out this weekend. That's working on a bottoming Korean. Okay, that's working on a bottoming pattern. I checked. I would love to do 102 puts, but there's no juice. CMC SA is a short watch. Look at that bearish consolidation of the declining 20 after that 180 breakdown. I'm going to set and learn 2655. Yeah, we're going to have profit taking all over the place. This Paul we gave to our ETF letter, but the gap up messed us up on Friday. But another good, I love these patterns when you get a flat 20 coming into a rising 50 with bullish weekly. So I'm now still keep an eye on it for an entry. So Synops, nothing. Satish, watching. Etsy. Airbus had some bad news. Gapping down ADR, but looks lower. So look at the monthlies climb. So I immediately looked at Boeing, and Boeing was up this morning. So that could have been a situation of bad news for one competitor is helping this competitor. But now it's back to flat. It's a sell setup, nothing to do. There's a couple releases of EV sales. XPEV. It's a nice pattern. We've been trading a lot of these Climo turn patterns this last week. But I have an alarm on that. LI has to get up here. Has to recover. So I have an alarm. Let me put it on the other computer. 1840. So let's see, look at the weekly is a nice Climo, but you just gotta wait for a turn now. Which we do not have. I ain't asking about AAL breakout. No. We don't we never buy a breakout from the bottom of the range to the top. It's up 5 straight bars, greater than 100% retracement. A breakout is bullish consolidation at resistance. And we have plenty of them. So just stick around, Bane, when I come into one of these. I'll show you what a better breakout is. I mean, this is a better breakout, Milko. I mean, it's a small little inverse head and shoulder. But if we get a 1, 2, 3, then that would be a 1, 2, 3 breakout. But it's actually gapping up here. Hell, this is a sell setup. This is on Sam's list. Set an alarm at 225. Onion. Needs to chop around sideways, Sam. But I like the big downside shakeout, the 1, 2, 3 on the weekly. So yeah, all these Bitcoin stocks getting punished. I made a comment to Greg over the weekend. I'm like, look at Mister. One of these Bitcoin stocks. I said it did not bounce. This thing's still weak. I remember when the CEO, Michael Saylor, I forget what day it was. He was just pounding the table. Oh, buy my stock. I'm buying more Bitcoin, and just her evangelist. The thing can go, Bitcoin can go down to $1, and these evangelists are just going to be singing the same tune the whole way down. Buy, 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 buy. It's the best thing in the world. All right, Dash. Why am I looking at you? Oh, because you have a nice relative strength. Anything green is relative strength today, right? With a big gap down. And so I glanced at my Dow 30. There's not a single stock up over $1. There's 4 or 5 up just a little bit. Chevron up a little bit, no pattern. Looking at my 26 sectors. Gold is the best looking one. FDN actually is holding well. All right, here we go. So I just focus on alarms. AER, why did I have an alarm? I did not know why I had an alarm on you. PNR, this is a sell setup. Sloppy. I mean, it's sloppy bars, but it's in a downtrend. You got a 3-bar reversal at the 20. So it's also EPAM. EPAM is, it's bullish. It's maybe 30-minute high. I mean, I'm going to be very selective on longs here with the gap down and expected market retracement. I'm going to go, all right, Satish. Okay, Satish is fine. So it did not hit the break-even stop. So I'll just reset the alarm. 7701. Four alarm. We actually had this as a short launch back here when it was a 1, 2, 3, and I canceled it, but I kept it on my list. So that's not bad. It's down a lot though. That's my only concern. Look at the weekly, monthly. It's down so much, but I can't bounce. So let's put core there. Maybe ideally 30-minute low. All right, this TBPH. All right, so we already have our stop in. Let me reset the alarms. Remember, I had a 2150 alarm go off pre-market, which I didn't trust. IP, nothing. Sam, that's Sam's Onion, AER, nothing. House, wait, wrong one. HOUS, house. HOUS. All right, so that we were in trail mode on this. Hmm. Let's just kill it. If the market were in a better mood, I would say, well, so it's a judgment call. Do you want to use 5-minute low or just sell it? 13. Oh, I'll give 5-minute low because he'll still be a profit. Yeah, actually, it would be a tiny loss. Well, just on the third. Yeah, I guess I was just talking about four. I put it in the bottom right there. Fine. ED, early alarm. We're in trail mode on that. Let's see if what our stop is. This had a positive Barron's article. So I don't like that it's doing that. Deck up alarm. Nice. Oh, nice little bottoming pattern. 20 MA flattening out. Good. AXS alarm. This is a 1, 2, 3. That'd be a nice 30-minute high. 30-minute high here. I'm just not rushing into things. Yeah, put it here, it's acting well. We might want to sell some of the string. All right, thanks. Let's just sell a third.